Father's Day was coming up, and honestly, I wasn't expecting anything grand. My wife, Emma, had mentioned she was planning something small, maybe a nice breakfast and a lazy afternoon together. I've been in her son's life for about 3 years now, and while I'm not his biological dad, I've done my best to be a father figure. Her son, Liam, is 9. He's a great kid, shy, thoughtful, and funny when he feels comfortable. His real dad, well, let's just say he's not exactly the model parent. He left Emma when Liam was a toddler and only pops up a couple of times a year. No child support, no consistency, just random appearances that seem to leave Liam more confused than happy. The Friday before Father's Day, Liam came into the kitchen while I was making coffee. He was quiet for a moment, just watching me. Then he said, "Can I call my dad on Sunday?" It caught me off guard. I asked, "Your dad?" And he nodded. "Yeah, on Father's Day. I want to tell him Happy Father's Day." I froze for a second. It wasn't jealousy exactly, but there was this unexpected twist in my chest. I've been the one helping with homework, taking him to soccer practice, staying up when he's sick, all the stuff that comes with being a parent. And now he wanted to use this day to call someone who barely shows up in his life. I try to keep my voice steady. "Of course you can," I said. "It's your choice." But deep down, it stung. I didn't want to be the petty stepdad who made this about himself, but it felt unfair. When I told Emma later, she sighed. "I'm sorry. I didn't know he'd ask. I think he's just curious. You've been his dad in every way that matters, but you know how kids are. They still wonder." I understood. But that night, as I lay in bed, I kept hearing Liam's small voice asking to call his dad. And I couldn't help but wonder if I was just a placeholder in his life until his real dad decided to step in. Sunday morning came quicker than I expected. Emma made pancakes, and we all sat down together. Liam was in a good mood, chattering about some video game he was into lately. But I could see him glancing toward the clock. After breakfast, he said softly, "Can I call him now?" Emma looked at me, like she was silently asking if I was okay with it. I just nodded. "Yeah, buddy, go ahead." He grabbed Emma's phone. His dad's number was saved there, and went to the living room. I stayed in the kitchen, trying to give him privacy, but my ears were straining to hear. "Hi, Dad. Yeah, it's me. Happy Father's Day." Liam's voice was bright, hopeful. There was a pause, then some muffled talking from the other end. Liam's smile started to fade a little. "Oh, yeah, I get it. Okay." The call lasted maybe 3 minutes. When Liam came back, his expression was hard to read, somewhere between disappointed and trying not to show it. He sat down, poked at the last of his pancakes, and said, "He's busy today, going out with friends." I felt a wave of anger, not for myself, but for him. This kid had built up the courage and excitement to call, and his dad couldn't even pretend to make him feel special on one of the easiest days to do so. I wanted to say something that would let him know I saw him, that I was here, but I also didn't want to trash talk his dad. That's not my role, and it's not fair to make him choose sides. So I just said, "Well, I'm glad you called him. That was nice of you." He looked up at me for a second, and for the briefest moment, there was something in his eyes, almost like guilt. Then he forced a smile and said, "Can we go play soccer later?" "Absolutely," I said, and that's what we did. But the whole time, I kept thinking about how easily that man had brushed off his own kid. And, if I'm being honest, I kept wondering if Liam realized just how different it could be. And already was. That evening, after soccer and a quick stop for ice cream, we got home and everyone was in that relaxed, end-of-the-day mood. Emma was in the kitchen doing dishes. Liam was upstairs playing on his tablet, and I was scrolling through my phone on the couch. That's when a notification popped up, a Facebook message request from someone I didn't recognize right away. The name clicked after a second. Mark, Liam's dad. We'd never spoken directly before. Emma had always handled communication with him, and even that was rare. Out of curiosity, I opened the message. "Hey, I heard you've been doing a lot of stuff with my kid. Soccer, birthdays, whatever. I appreciate it, but maybe don't try to replace me. He's still my son." I read it twice, partly to make sure I wasn't imagining the tone. It wasn't just territorial. It was laced with insecurity and a weird kind of hostility. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I walked into the kitchen and showed Emma. She read it, sighed, and rubbed her forehead. "I'm sorry," she said. "He's always been like this. Wants the credit of being a dad without actually doing the work." We talked about whether I should respond. On one hand, I didn't want to start drama. On the other, it stung to think that all the time, effort, and love I was putting into Liam's life could be twisted into something negative. In the end, I typed back, "I'm not trying to replace you. I'm just here for Liam when you're not. That's all." It took him less than a minute to reply, "Yeah, well, Father's Day is between a kid and his real dad. Hope you understand." I didn't answer after that, but his words stuck in my head all night. Because here's the thing, I did understand. I understood that Liam deserved more than just a real dad title. He deserved someone who showed up, who made him feel like he mattered. And whether Mark liked it or not, that was exactly what I intended to keep doing. The next morning, Liam came down to breakfast wearing the same hoodie he'd worn the day before, the one I'd bought him for his birthday. He plopped into the chair, hair a total mess, and started pouring cereal like it was the only thing keeping him alive. Halfway through eating, he said casually, "You know, Dad never takes me for ice cream. We used to, but only when I was little." I kept my tone neutral. "Oh yeah? Well, maybe he'll take you again sometime." Liam shrugged, swirling his spoon in the milk. "Maybe, but I don't think so. He says he's busy a lot. You're busy too, but you still do stuff with me." It hit me like a sucker punch. He wasn't saying it in a way that meant to flatter me. It was just an observation. But the fact that he'd noticed, it told me more than any thank you ever could. I didn't want to make the moment heavy, so I just said, "Well, I like hanging out with you. That's the difference." That got a small smile out of him. Not the big, toothy kind, just a little one, but it felt real. Later that day, I couldn't stop thinking about that small exchange. Because here's the thing, kids see everything. They notice who shows up, who keeps their promises, who takes time for them without making it feel like a chore. And they also notice the opposite. That night, when Emma and I were cleaning up after dinner, she said, "Liam told me you guys had a good talk this morning." I just smiled. Yeah, I think he's starting to figure things out for himself. And part of me was glad for that. But another part of me was bracing for what would happen if Mark ever realized his son was starting to see the cracks. Father's Day was about a week away when Emma told me something that made my stomach twist. "Mark called," she said, drying her hands on a towel. "He wants to pick Liam up that morning, spend the day with him. Says it's important." I nodded slowly. "Okay, that's fine. It's his day after all." But inside, I couldn't shake the feeling that this sudden burst of interest wasn't about Liam at all. It was about me. Mark had never made this kind of effort before, and now, after a little message exchange, he suddenly wanted to claim Father's Day like a trophy. The week passed quickly, and on the morning of Father's Day, I helped Liam get ready. He was quiet, almost reluctant. I noticed him hesitating when he grabbed his jacket. "You okay?" I asked. He shrugged. "Yeah, just. I don't know if it's going to be fun. Dad always talks about himself a lot." I didn't want to badmouth his father, so I just smiled and said, "Well, give him a chance. You might be surprised." Mark arrived right on time. He leaned against his car with that kind of casual confidence people wear when they're trying too hard. He gave me a short nod, but didn't really look me in the eye. Liam got in the car, and they drove off. Hours passed. I kept glancing at the clock, wondering what they were doing. When they finally came back, Liam walked in with a paper bag from some chain restaurant and a look that said, "That's it." "How was it?" I asked, keeping my tone upbeat. He sat on the couch and said flatly, "We ate." Then he dropped me off at his friend's place while he talked with them. He said he was busy and didn't have time for the park. Emma and I exchanged a look, that silent, wordless communication couples develop over time. I wanted to hug the kid right then, but I also didn't want to make him feel worse. Later that night, when Liam was upstairs, Emma whispered, "Do you see what I mean? Mark wants the title, not the job." And that's when I realized something important. Father's Day isn't about DNA. It's about who actually fathers. The next day, I found Liam in the backyard, tossing a baseball up in the air and catching it with his glove. He wasn't smiling, but he didn't look upset either, just quiet. I grabbed my own glove and walked over. Mind if I join? He shrugged. Sure. We started tossing the ball back and forth. A few minutes passed in comfortable silence, just the sound of leather popping as the ball hit our gloves. Then, out of nowhere, Liam said, "You know, you don't have to get me anything for Father's Day." I caught the ball and tilted my head. Why's that? Because he hesitated, eyes on the ground. I think every day's kinda like Father's Day with you. I swear, for a second, I couldn't even throw the ball back. My throat felt tight, and I had to blink fast to keep my eyes from giving me away. I walked over, put a hand on his shoulder, and said, "Well, you just gave me the best Father's Day gift I could ever get." That night, after Liam went to bed, I sat on the couch with Emma. She leaned against me and whispered, "You're doing a good job, you know." And maybe for the first time since I became a stepdad, I actually believed her. Because it's not about blood. It's not about titles. It's not even about Father's Day. It's about showing up on the boring Tuesdays, on the tough days, on the days when no one else does. And if I keep doing that, I figure Liam will never have to wonder who his real dad is.